every time the Electrify Expo is in a new city, we always sit down and talk with people that are on the front lines of what's happening on a localized level that makes electrification happen. And today we're joined by Ken Crowley. You are from the Village of Oak Park, and you're the fleet manager at the Village of Oak Park. How you doing, Ken?
Living the dream. We get about 200 pieces of vehicle equipment, and about 10% is EV now, and it's been great.
So your job is, okay, it's the entire fleet, right? Now, at 10% means, I say, how many total vehicles are you managing inside of the fleet, as an example?
On the road, license plated about 180, 190, and we have about 28 or 30 electric vehicles.
And so that's a good point of just kind of, but you have a variety of vehicle types too that you're managing, and that's a big part of what I think electrification of fleets has been kind of grappling with. On some level, it's like, okay, do we have everything that you need right now? Some fleets might say yes. Others might say, well, you've got a sliver or a portion or a half. So what was the process, and how long ago did you start looking at this from a fleet perspective to say, here's how we need to make these decisions to make the change happen?
We're very fortunate, and we're 4.7 square miles with 54,000 people. So any inspector, anybody that just stays in town can drive an EV.
For days and days and days.
And days and days and days. We actually share chargers because we don't have enough infrastructure for a charger for every vehicle. We have everything from animal control to water department van, as I said, every inspector, several pool cars, and we just put in service 3 police cars for take-homes for our police chief, deputy chief, and chief of detectives.
Now, are these like regular passenger vehicles, or are these specific built type vehicles?
The animal control one we had upfitted for the animal control and the water department. It was just a regular Ford van, EV, that was sent to an upfitter that specializes in EVs. Don't have anybody that hasn't specialized in EVs upfit an electric vehicle. Okay. The rest of the cars for inspectors are just Nissan Leafs. That's big enough for them. It goes anywhere. They say, oh, it doesn't go as far in the winter. Okay, you charge it once a week? Yeah, okay, I don't care. You know.
Okay, that's a good point.
Yes.
Like, fleet manager has spoken.
Yeah, and the police cars we actually just put in service in the last month, and they're the police pursuit vehicle Blazers.
Okay, yeah. Actually, we had an interesting conversation at the expo in San Francisco about the basically police interceptor conversation. So GM's been doing that for years with a lot of their vehicles. So that's what you leverage. There's a few other companies, like Unplugged Performance is now doing upfit, where they're actually modifying Model Ys to be police interceptor vehicles as well. So you've been applying that electrification component, though, to, as you just described, a lot of different touch points for what your fleet needs are. So do you want to do full electrification as soon as possible, or is this more like a learning process for you? What are the steps you went through to kind of gauge making the decisions you made, and then how soon do you see that transitioning further?
It comes down to infrastructure. And being an older municipality, we have an old village hall, an old police department, and where I want to put the rest of the chargers, they are discussing moving our police department or rebuilding our village hall. And if I put it in and then they move the police department there, it's just...
Cool, stranded asset, yay!
Okay, yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. And we had the same kind of issue when we were doing the next generation delivery vehicle for the United States Postal Service. Yeah. It was kind of one of those same things where it's like, okay, here's this post office that's been here for 120 years, but we want to put electric cars there. Well, okay, that building is barely serving the United States Postal Service as it is, so we're going to have to move it. So maybe we do bring electric cars, but maybe not yet. And that's always been the argument of, do we do it now? Do we do it later? Do we move? Do we not move?
Well, it's a chicken and egg thing so often. And what's interesting, too, about the fleet side is that it's a very contained experience. Like, you know the ins and outs of how your vehicles are used and where they're parked at night, all those things. But even with that level of structure to knowing exactly what's happening, you have these barriers that you're describing that are really related to, as you describe, infrastructure. So on that front, you have to then talk to, whether it's city planners, where's this building going to go to? Then bring in, during that conversation, the utility to say, all right, we've got a game plan here. But we're talking that this doesn't happen in 6 to 12 months. These are things that happen over a period of years. So where's that threshold by which you think you can get your fleet to today with the constraints that you've described for how much you can electrify?
Well, it's also the equipment. I currently, every pickup truck we buy, we put a plow on it. So all my pickup trucks have to be gas, because you're not going to put a pickup truck on an electric. And it also, the amount of cold, pushing snow, will definitely decrease the battery really fast.
So again, other constraints are just too where the technology's at as well, right?
Yeah, the big trucks, the Salters, the big heavy duty, just the chassis aren't there yet. There's a lot of them. As I'm looking at grant funding we have a semi-tractor, so I'm looking into VW funding to replace that. Fingers crossed. But the rest of the ones, they're not there yet, but every frontline vehicle, every squad car, any vehicle we have can all be switched. So I mean, ideally I would like 80%, because there's still going to be a few hybrids that are going to have to go long distance, cross country currently, but the rest of them, but I can't do my frontline squads until I get the infrastructure and know where the police department's going to be.
Now, so do you work with the state to get that infrastructure money so that you can actually build?
No, our local International Alliance for Clean Transportation, IACT, it's our Clean Cities, helped us apply for the grant for the VW funds. And we work with ComEd. I think I've gotten like 85 or 90,000 in rebates from them for my Leafs and my Chevys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they've been working
on the
great.
commercial side too. I was talking to one of my colleagues that is at ComEd, and he mentioned that too. On the commercial front, there's a lot of opportunity to electrify the vehicle side, whereas on the residential front, it's more so focused. There is that rebate sometimes for private vehicle, but it's mostly focused on infrastructure.
Yeah, they help out with the chargers also, but not the installation.
Right. Yeah. Well, and so to all this to be said, what we're describing, we talked a little bit before we started, is you've got a lot of years under your belt now of going through this process. So when you sit down and talk to other people that are looking to electrify fleets, you've got a lot of things you can point to. And I even mentioned that one colleague I had is like, man, we're going to be a petri dish and try things. But it sounds like you've been pretty regimented and pretty structured in what you knew you needed to do. So how do you share out this information to other municipals that maybe are of similar size? Do you communicate with other fleet operators to focus on how you can help them as well? Because it strikes me that you've been a little bit ahead of most other people in your role. Yeah.
I belong to an organization, Municipal Fleet Managers Association, and we get together monthly and we have constant conversations. I've been reached out by several other municipalities asking, hey, they want us to start buying EVs now. What should I buy? I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know what you do.
That almost sounded like a used car moment, like, hey, I want you to start buying new EVs now. Yeah.
Exactly. But like another municipality, he did a phenomenal job. He had a comparison. I told him how I did. Here's the gas van, here's the electric van, here's the price with rebates, here's the price without rebates and a charger. And with the rebates, it was actually less to buy the electric vehicle and the charger.
That's awesome.
Wow, that's both. So you got the fueling station and the vehicle for less than the gas vehicle.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Return investment instantly.
Well, it seems like this is still even on the fleet side too. So much of what you're doing, it has to work for the people that are driving the vehicles, but also there's a lot of bean counting that goes into this to make it function from a revenue perspective, and a budgetary perspective, that it just works. So you're making these decisions in many ways in kind of a black and white binary way that really is about the dollars and cents. And so long as vehicles can work, you can make that decision. But there's a lot of people that are buying private vehicles. There's more of an emotional component to it. And like you said, I said, yeah, I've talked to some folks that have done this, and they may not want to grab those keys to the EV just yet. And you're like, no, this is actually how I do this. It's like, you're going to use these vehicles. And as you described, there's a lot of people that have been driving this for a few years now. They're like, this is just, it works. And that's what fleets need, is it just has to work. So in that respect, from both the budgetary perspective and it just works perspective, has it achieved everything you thought and more? Are there still gaps, you think, from a fleet perspective that need to be filled?
Just educating the end users and with your app. And the technicians are going to need more training going in the future. Currently, everything's under warranty. It starts so soon.
For now.
But one day.
And I'm treating the e-drives kind of like transmission repairs. We don't do transmission repairs. We send them to a trans shop. So there will eventually be EV specialty shops or the dealer, because they just don't have issues.
Right.
My techs get bored working on them. Wipers, lights, tires. And
Right.
That's it.
You don't have to do an oil change. That's brakes, oil change. Those
What'd
are
you
the two
do?
things that are almost immediately eliminated.
Yeah.
And being 4.7 square miles, we haven't changed brakes on any of them, and I've had them since 2019.
So what's the payoff look like over time? You mentioned that one sit-down comparison that you did. You're like, it was just cheaper from the outset, even with the infrastructure. Is that doesn't seem like it's normal, though, obviously. What's the payout over time to really see the ROI on these decisions?
If you have a vehicle that you can get a cheaper one in gas, I would say no less than 2 years. But the last 6 Leafs I just bought, And I couldn't buy my specs. My spec is 40 kilowatt battery, white. Other than that, it's
the city logo looks good on the
Typical
door.
and that's it.
municipality.
That's it. That's all it is. So I got the dealership couldn't find any 40 kilowatts. They go, I have 60 kilowatts and I have this rebate, and then you can apply for the ComEd rebate. We're still trying to get the federal rebate, hopefully by the end of the month.
I was gonna say you got 17 days.
I can't affect that. That's my finance department and the tax people. So it's
Well, hey,
on them.
You got two friends with microphones right now. They're like, "Hey, get on that. Ken needs some help."
You got
Yeah.
a few days.
So, but selling
Pedro's
to
far more intimidating than I am, by the way.
I'll take him. With the rebates and then selling the cars they replaced, I'm about $3,000 in the black on each car.
That is nuts. So,
Wow, that's awesome.
so I mean, this is something that I mean, throughout the day we've talked a lot about education, but this is really something more about it's education of the benefits of just the financial upfront of saying, boom, you save it. So, where do you think there's still gaps for other people that are in your position around, again, whether it's Illinois or even around the country? How do they get better information about what you just described so we can accelerate fleet electrification more effectively?
They're local clean cities, and you have to have support from the top down. I mean, I've got a phenomenal public works director who pushes me to buy more electrics, and I actually had to tone him back. I said, we have this many chargers, and they're all saturated. We have 2 people per charger, so throttle back a little bit.
Your boss shows up the next day with like 10 extension cords. He's like, I think I solved your problem.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's not how it works.
And,
Not how it works.
and the people above him are like, yeah, this is cool. This is great, as long as it makes financial sense, depending upon
Well,
where the
you've already
budget is.
proven that it makes financial sense. So that's good. So you've got the support from above. You got the support down here. So now it's just a matter of getting that actual infrastructure in place so that you can saturate your market with more EVs. That's great.
Well, so really about the timing of this is that, at least you described, you're like, well, it's a matter we might be moving buildings. There's things that are outside of your control. And so it turns into a waiting game beyond the fact that you've proven it works both financially and also just as a vehicle. So really it's that game of just the other stakeholders at play, which you just have to get aligned or in motion faster. Is this then just a bureaucratic roadblock? Is that, because you got the leadership that's getting you to electrify, which is great. Now it's other leadership that has to figure out how to get their ducks in a row so you can make that happen faster.
Well, it's the same leadership being politically correct about not wanting to tear down a historic building that needs work.
What's it look like? You got a picture? I mean, should it be on the historical
I
registry?
I don't.
I
You
mean,
can
I'm gonna
look
just
on the Oak Park website. It's on there.
Okay. I'm gonna be like, it's like, oh, Ken's like, oh, yeah, it needs some lipstick. It does.
It looks nice on the outside. No,
Oh,
It
okay.
looks really nice on the outside.
You get on the inside though, and you're like, oh, this could use a little paint.
It's the layout is different. It's dated.
Well, as you were describing, like, there's post office out there that have like a single light bulb. Like, we've got this problem
Right.
everywhere around the country.
Right. So it's one of those things, right? They look at it and they go, well, that's old. It's historic. It's like, are you kidding me, really? They built that 50 years ago. It just looks old.
Well, actually, yeah. How old's the building? Actually,
It was built in the 70s.
oh man, well done. Again, look, but it's seriously like, again, I grew up in Southern California where everything that was like 10 years old, they're like, that's old. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. So there's not a lot of historic stuff depending where you go, but then you get further, get back east. It's like, yeah, you actually run into a lot of that where it's like,
Yes.
no, we have to be thoughtful around how we actually manage this. But to your point, you're just sitting back and kind of twiddling your thumbs. So I guess, but you're almost in that sense kind of like a marker for other people that want to do what you do in cities that have these older buildings to say, just FYI, this could happen, right? So is there something you provide out? You said you meet on a monthly basis with your counterparts. How does that then get distributed beyond, again, those counterparts and, again, help educate more people that are in your role?
I just make myself as available as I can to events like this and discuss and say it works. And I do also recommend starting at the top or people that are cooperative. I have my police chief, deputy chief, and my chief of detectives in electric vehicles. So if and when we go to frontline and the officers say, this won't work, they'll say, what are you talking about? We've been driving them for 3 years or 4 years. So
Right, absolutely. And so the good thing is that there's also other municipalities that have done the same. Like there's, police stations in California that have now switched over to Rivians and other, Model Y and stuff like that for their police vehicles. And they realize that there isn't a whole lot out there that can get away from one of these cars. So it's good to see that there's actually that being in place that you can then say, look, this city has already done it. Let's implement it. And then you've already got people in place as well. So what type of other vehicles. So we talked about a little bit about commercial, right? And you said something about the snow vehicles and stuff like that. So what do you see as being needed in that area?
Well, anything emergency response has got to run 24/7, because when we have snowstorms, eventually, the 2011 I had to sleep at work, and we just kept the trucks going nonstop, and it's got to be a 5-minute recharge, and it's got to be able to long run time and power the salt spreader, equal the hydraulic pump for this for the plow. And this isn't something that we can have sit for an hour, 2 hours to charge. It's got to be either swappable battery or 5-minute recharge. Even in 10 or 15-minute recharge would be okay, because then bathroom break, snack, and then get back out on the road.
And there are vehicles today that have that level of the technology and both the battery and the charging, but then the infrastructure component. If you invest to put in lower power charging like level 2, where there's long dwell time for the vehicles you have now, and then they move the building or they move to a different building, that's one expense. But if you install and put in high-powered charging to the scale of where you can do like a 15-minute charge with multiple vehicles, well, that is a much bigger lost investment. So, no, this is part of it's not like you're turning a page and it's done. This is a book that's being written, and we're going through the book right now. And we're not at the very beginning. We're moving. We got things going. But you've proven that, again, so when was the first electric vehicle added to your fleet? First one?
The very first one, I don't like talking about, was 2011.
Okay.
But no regenerative braking, 12-volt batteries. Back in the day, they were actually registered as motorcycles because they didn't meet the safety standards.
This is a Zap car? What was this?
Something similar to that.
Okay.
It was a Chinese vehicle that was imported to Tennessee, and they pulled the gas motor out, stick shift.
Oh, that had to be so fun.
Oh, no,
come
no.
on.
The gearing was for the gas motor, and the electric motor was seriously underpowered for it. And
Please tell me.
everybody hated
You'd
it.
be surprised how not fun that
No,
actually
the best part was
is.
someone gets into like, so first is drive, second is neutral, third is reverse. Like, what's going on here?
And there's no killing the engine, so they would put it in third and just let the clutch go and just putt. And I just sold it 3 months ago.
Are you kidding me? That thing should have been glued to the building that's now historical.
No.
That would've made it historic.
It was
I
outside
know.
my office for 3 years. I got tired of looking at it.
And so it was just kind of like, there's like, even the spiders were like, we got done making webs on this thing. You gotta, 86.
So actually the real integration with EVs was started in 2019 with a parking lot project at my village hall.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, hey, we're doing a new parking lot. I'm like, hey, put EV chargers on it. Hey, you need to be on this committee. I'm like, God damn it. So
Ken's like, more work, yay.
No, without voluntold.
Yeah, and
But
then I
that's
said, hey,
voluntold.
since we're going to have, thank you, I use that all the time.
Perfect.
I said, all right, now that we have chargers, I can get EVs.
So it really is about, again, right place, right time. You also, again, you were trying things way earlier than most people. But the beauty of it is you've got now, again, we're talking 14 years since that first car showed up. And what you've got is 10% electrified. You're proving out that, we can actually save money the day we buy this with infrastructure. This is painting the picture for other people that get to talk to you. So for those that hear this later, they can reach out. So that's kind of rounding out. How does someone get in touch with you if they have questions? If they see this later, hear this later, what's the best way to get in touch with Ken Crowley?
Just contact me directly through email, kcrowley@oak-park.us, or go to the Village of Oak Park website, and all the contact information's on there.
There you go. Pedro, anything else you want to add?
Thank you very much for talking to us, and I'm so glad it's working out for you, and I wish you the best in the future.
No, thank you so much, Ken.
Thank
This
you.
is the EV Reality Check booth powered by GreenCars.com.